Yeah, I think it'll be. You think it'll be okay once we get started, maybe?
I have no idea.
All right, well, let's go. Let's see what happens, okay?
Hey, we're talking about real monsters. Up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
Monster.
So, and hopefully we're like on there because we're having trouble with.
Lot. So, I don't know what we want to do about that.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to our son. It's our oldest son's 30th birthday. And my mom and our youngest son had a birthday on October 2nd. So happy birthday to them. Our oldest is 30 and our youngest is 25.
Yeah, it's like a super birthday month because it's your birthday coming over here pretty soon too.
Yeah. My birthday is going to be on October the 16th, and I am going to be 49 years old.
Wow.
Oh my.
But we're talking about real monsters today. So, really interesting. I've been watching the Jeffrey Dahmer story on Netflix. So, it's not actually as gruesome as you think it is.
It's not so much that I think it's gruesome. It's that for me, because like this was happening, this was something that like kind of unfolded when we were old enough to have understood it.
Right.
And so this was something that I saw unfolding, and to see someone who can do that to other people, and the way he was so, in my opinion, he was so nonchalant about it when we saw him in real life, right? And so I guess that's why we kind of talked about this and decided to call this Real Monsters, because...
Well, it's funny because when he was like doing, like when he was actually doing that kind of stuff, I was spending summers in Wisconsin during that time, which was real crazy. But so that was like happening behind the scenes when I was there.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, it's really, I watched a few minutes of a couple of episodes with you, but you knew that it wasn't something that I was going to watch or want to watch, so you were watching it without me. And like the few minutes of the episodes that I saw, the actor did a good job of portraying Jeffrey Dahmer, but I think he did too good of a job for me, and maybe it's just
really good,
too close to home for me, because I don't know, to me it's scarier to think about somebody who's out there, who's killing people, who's eating people. You know, you see movies like Silence of the Lambs and you see Hannibal Lecter and he gives you the creeps, the willies, right? But then to know that there's somebody out there, like there's real people
Hannibal
that...
Lecter an actual person?
Mm-hmm.
I think Hannibal Lecter was.
Was he?
Yeah.
I that was something I didn't know. I don't like, I know a lot of people, it's like really popular to listen to those podcasts, those true crime podcasts and everything.
And that's one of the things I was going to bring out, is like what kind of like brought us to this thing, because I don't know, for a long time there's been things about serial killers. Like they've done like several Jeffrey Dahmer movies everywhere. So they've done that. They've done John Wayne Gacy. They've done like shows on John Wayne Gacy. So people, hey Steve, happy Friday.
Steve. So do you want to know my 2 cents worth?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been thinking about this because you've been watching this, and it's Halloween time, and I love Halloween, and one of the things about Halloween is like kind of being scared and darkness and monsters and stuff like that. But I think that to an extent, all of us have a certain level of darkness, a certain level of meanness, a certain level of, okay, maybe I couldn't kill somebody, but you know, if it was socially acceptable, maybe I could just go like punch somebody in the face or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think that everybody has like a certain little level of darkness, but they don't. But we understand that it's
Are
bad.
you sure about that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think we understand that it's bad and we know that it's not okay, but we're kind of fascinated with those people that let go of those social norms.
Well, I'm not through the entire series right now, but here's something that, like, the father character in this Netflix show, he was saying, well, I used to have those feelings too. He was telling his son, Jeffrey,
Oh, really?
he had those feelings too, and he felt bad because all of the things that he was teaching him, like they would pick up like roadkill and kind of like dissect it, and that's where he got kind of like the love for like the innards of people.
But
And
but
for
I
the-
actually
it's just
saw
the
some
innards
of
of
that
everything.
part with you, and his dad did that very innocently, because Jeffrey had an illness.
Rukia says, I'm 100% dark and mean. LOL.
Jeffrey had that illness, and so he was very odd. He had something wrong with him. You told me that he had some kind of illness, and then and then based on the surgery or something was wrong with his brain. So I saw after that part where the dad was fussing at the mom, and she's like, well, why are you showing him that stuff? And he's like, well, he showed an interest in it. But to him, the dad was just thinking like he's showing like a taxidermy type interest in it.
Yeah.
Like, because our son, our youngest son, he has that taxidermy interest, and he likes skulls and bones and dead things. And a lot of people do. There's a lot of artwork out there with like dead things. So the dad took it very innocently as like, this is a way for me to connect to my son.
But the thing is, he wasn't interested in necessarily the bones as much. He was more interested in kind of like the guts and how they shined.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like that would arouse him,
Oh,
which is kind of weird. But that's something that was like that was broken within him.
And you know, you think, like, people think, oh, his dad should have seen that, right? Or his mom should have seen that, or his stepmom should have seen that. But I think when you're too close to someone like that, and when you love someone and it's your child, you don't want to think that there's something wrong to that extent with your child, right? You might think that your child.
Right.
So as a parent, I think you think and you hope that your kid is not that kid. And most of them aren't. Most of them aren't Jeffrey Dahmer, right? But there are some. Father, Rukia says Jeffrey's father definitely showed him how to do things, and he took that completely into his hands. So for me, this is scarier. Like, watching the Jeffrey Dahmer series is scarier than a scary movie. It's
picturing him doing this type of role, but when you look at him and you do it, he is dead in his eyes, and I don't know how you can emote that. I don't understand how you're able to emote that kind of thing.
He must have watched like hours of footage of him, because that's exactly
he must do, because
that's what I remember
has
of Jeffrey
down.
Dahmer. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I remember
Like,
of Jeffrey
there's
Dahmer that was creepy.
Nothing there. Like, he feels like no remorse whatsoever.
Yeah, like it doesn't even faze him, right? He's like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that.
I just wanted to.
I just wanted to. And they're like, well, plead this. And he's like, but it's not true. I did those things.
Because he didn't want to like go for the plead for insanity.
No, because it's almost like seeing somebody who has is on the autistic spectrum, and they don't understand those social cues, and so you're trying to tell them like, oh, do this because this is like the social cue, and they're like, no, I don't want to do that, right? That's not how I do it. And so I don't know, it's weird to see him like that. And I think that's why the movies with like Freddy Krueger and Jason, those movies scare me more than like movies about creatures, like Frankenstein's monster and stuff, like those don't scare me, but I can see, and of course the later ones with Jason where he's come back to life and come back to life, okay, fine, I'm not there with you anymore. But in the beginning, when it's just a troubled kid, and like think about Norman Bates and, you know, his mom being dead up there and he's talking to her all this time. Like Psycho is one of the scariest movies like of all time because of the human element. It's the human element that makes it scary.
It's a human element and the suspense. It's a suspense that isn't necessarily, they don't necessarily have that down as well as they used to back in the day, because they go for more of the gore factor.
Yeah, and that doesn't really, in my opinion,
I think they did a good job in this Netflix show.
Oh yeah.
They're doing a good job
It's creepy.
at
I can't watch
suspense
it.
because they don't show everything, but they spell it out for you. You know what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
it's mostly
they don't have to
sounds,
show,
yeah.
but they don't have to show
No.
you because your mind will go there. Like, and your mind is already afraid that you will be a victim to that, right? Or somebody you know is doing that and you're not catching on to it or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Rukia says Norman Bates is based on Ed Gein. And then Steve says he's a great actor. Loved his work in American Horror Story. I haven't seen him in American Horror Story. I haven't really
We
watched
haven't
that
really
show.
watched American Horror Story. It's something that's like on our list of things to kind of binge. Those seem binge worthy. I've heard that those are really creepy and good, American Horror Story.
Yeah.
But again, American Horror Story, you're looking at the human element. You're looking at all these people. Because, you know, another one that creeped me out, I just lost it. It was on the tip of my tongue. The one that Rob Zombie did with the crazy family, and they like kill, you know, they kill people and stuff, but they're all like inbred and everything.
Was it like Devil's Own or something like that?
Something like that. Just like anything that's got that human element, because you think that might really happen, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere out
or
there,
the Devil's
that's
Rejects or something like that.
something like that. It's like that's probably going on right now somewhere. And if I stumble across this on accident, I'm going to be one of those people in the cabin.
A lot of times this happens in like Texas.
Right? Like Leatherface. Look at all look at all the Leatherface stuff. That's another true story that happened here in Texas. So
And that was, there you had cannibalism with that one too, right?
And wearing people's skin and stuff. Okay, let's just gallivant around and wear people's skin. Like, I feel like, and I kind of think we see this now with the new iteration of Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire, is we've taken these classic monsters, and because they're so much fantasy, we've turned them into like this seductive, you know, romantic kind of fantastical things. Like vampires are real sexy now, you know what I mean? And zombies are not really the creatures that we're afraid of, because we kind of know that dead flesh is not like that scary. You know what I mean? Like, you can pretty much stab it and kill it. It's, to me, in The Walking Dead, it's the villains, it's the other humans.
Yeah.
That are the ones that we need to be afraid of. Like, it you know?
Well, I don't know. There were some points in The Walking Dead where you were like, when, what's his name? Who's the Asian kid?
Oh, Glenn.
Glenn was like trying to shimmy under the garbage.
Oh yeah.
The garbage.
Well, yeah, because when there's enough of them, when they're in
when
mass.
there's a lot of them, then and there's just you.
Yeah, when they're in mass and it's just you,
and you're
they
like,
can be
whoa,
scary.
hey, Fulgore, how's it going?
Hey, but I think, like, for me, if you're going for scary zombies, like Walking Dead zombies is not it. It's like World War Z zombies that are really scary. I thought Train to Busan, those zombies were scarier too, and I think some of that is that clicking kind of like jerky, like erratic kind of movement.
Kind of like the stuff we get from like Silent Hill.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. So I think
kind of like the stuff we got from like The Exorcist.
Yeah. But I still feel like there's something about, because we had this discussion a long time ago where we were trying to decide, is it called The Walking Dead because the dead are walking because of the zombies, or is it called The Walking Dead because the humans are the Walking Dead? Like they're dead inside.
Yeah,
those
that's what they talk about.
Societies have died. The community has died. You know, and here we are in this final season. Oh yeah, 28 Days Later was so good.
Oh, the super fast zombies.
That was and the one where the like blood could drop in your eye and you would change, like that freaks you out, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, it makes you. It kind of like almost kind of shows what COVID was like, almost.
Yeah, kind of.
That was so easy to
it's so easy to get the zombies, because like when you watch, there's like cutesy zombie things, and you're like, oh, zombies are cute, like Live More, you know,
iZombie,
mm-hmm. Right? So you can have cute zombies, and then they have the little like cute zombie movie with the kid, and he kind of retains some of his humanity, and he can talk and stuff, and then even in Shaun of the Dead, like at the end, he keeps him on a chain, and like, you know, he teaches him to play video games, and they teach him to put away the shopping carts and stuff. So it's something about, I think, and maybe I'm just overanalyzing it, because I always overanalyze things, but I think what scares us
Warm Bodies. Yes, that's another one.
Yeah, that's a cute one. Warm Bodies, yeah. The scary part is losing that humanity. Mm-hmm. And then I think being eaten alive too is pretty scary.
Or is the scary thing is what it does to the population, emotion and mentality, when you have to change to be a completely different person to do things that we don't do today.
Right. And you have to turn against one another, basically. Because all of a sudden you realize, hey, resources are limited. Hey, these are my people who I prioritize. And we did see some of that in COVID. So I don't know about you, but when we were watching The Walking Dead during some of the COVID times, I had a hard time making it through some of the episodes.
Yeah.
Because I saw people treating each other in such a way, like out there, and being ugly to each other over masks, and like beating each other up over toilet paper and stuff. And I thought, maybe this is hitting a little closer to home than I really want.
It's always been there.
Yeah.
It's always been there.
But I think those things scare us the most because they're right there on the cusp. It's like right there under the surface. Yeah. It could potentially touch our lives. Where vampires, like, really? I mean, they'd be like, you think that they would be cool, right? I don't know. I've read too many books. I romanticize vampires.
The original Fright Night pretty creeped me out. The original Fright Night.
Even the newer one, he was good. He was good. He was good. He was bad, but he's real sexy too. So it's just still that sexy. Like, even if you think about like Lost Boys and like the whole True Blood thing, they very much sexualized like the vampires and stuff. And Interview with the Vampire, the movie, and now the series, they're very much like sexualizing these vampires. And maybe that's something about like...
Oh, they even did it with your glittery vampire stuff.
Even with Twilight. That was just fun for the sake of being fun, okay? Don't judge me.
Ricky says, Black Fridays always show me how gross people are.
Oh, true that. Black Friday is pretty rough. Thank God we don't have to do that anymore. But I think as far as like, I don't know, as far as monsters go, like vampires are... I don't know why. I've read some articles before about like why, and there's some political tie-ins, but again, it just depends on like what you believe as far as that goes.
Right.
But I think Fright Night Vamps were hot. The end. They were hot, right? I don't know. There's something very hot, and maybe that's just me because I read a lot.
Right.
And in a lot of books, vampires are very much sexualized, and they're very hot, and they're very, and they've lived a long time, and so they know all the things about everything.
But isn't like Dracula kind of over-sexualized as well?
Oh yeah.
Bram Stoker's?
Yeah.
The book.
Yeah. Well, and even if you think back to like the movies with Lon Chaney, there he is with the eyes, and he's seducing the woman. And the thing that scares the man the most is he's stealing your woman away, right? It's not that you're really scared of him, and you can use your cross or your garlic or everyone, but he's got power over your woman, and he's got the eyes, and she wants to go to him and have her blood sucked, and be his concubine or whatever. So I don't know. It's all very like overly sexualized, and it's not necessarily super scary or anything. So I think the most underrated monsters that maybe get a bad rap is the werewolf, as we hear Anakin like shake his collar, and I think it's because dogs are our best friends, and so I don't know, we don't take I know there's like American Werewolf in London and everything, and it's supposed to be kind of scary, but I always thought it was kind of cheesy, And then in Young Frankenstein,
well, it depends
it's
on
like
when
werewolf, werewolf.
But it depends on where you've seen that in the time that you saw it. Like, in the time that it was done, that was creepy because nobody was able to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody did those changes. The changes that they did were like, they kind of like, when they did the werewolf, they kind of like cut in and faded in to the werewolf, not transform right in front of your face.
Right, right.
And that was kind of the thing that was just like, oh my God, that's like crazy.
I haven't seen Werewolf by Night. Where can we see that, Fulgore? What about, do you think that our generation, Vince, because you and I are obviously from the same generation, do you think that we're ruined to werewolves because of Teen Wolf?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I mean, when your werewolf is like a basketball star.
No,
and
not
he's
just that.
shagging Michael J. Fox.
What was the other one with the Wolfman has nards?
Oh, yeah, yeah. What is that?
Which one?
Monsters no, it's not Monsters Under the Bed. What is it?
No,
yeah,
it was not,
I can't remember what it's
yeah.
called, but he's like, yeah, Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards.
I don't remember what that is now.
It's on Disney Plus, he says.
Okay, Disney Plus. The Howling used to scare you as a kid. Nice. But even if you think about the werewolves in
was it like the Monster Squad or something like that?
Something like that. What's the one? Oh God, my brain is like really glitchy today. What's the one where it's the werewolves and the vampires together, and they're having like the battle, and there's like a Underworld. Mm-hmm. So even when you think about that movie, like here we have vampires and werewolves together, but the werewolves are still kind of like the lapdogs. They're still the lackeys, right? The vampires are still kind of like the top dogs.
Yeah, it was Monster Squad.
Monster Squad, yeah. The vampires are still like the strong ones. They're I don't know, they're just like, I don't know, werewolves I think just get a bad rap. And I think that they shouldn't, because I think that they have like really good skills, and they could like tear you up with their claws, their teeth. I really liked the werewolf in Van Helsing. Mm-hmm. I thought that was done pretty well, and I liked that. I really liked the newer Teen Wolf series that they did.
Yeah, I like that, but what do you? But we're kind of like digressing, because what about real monsters? Because we haven't even talked about Gacy.
Yeah.
And that's another like they have documentaries on that. I think they have a show on Netflix as well on that. And that was a whole other thing. And then there's been a ton of movies on serial killers.
So for me, I don't like to watch that. Like, I don't even remember which one. I mean, I know he's like John Wayne Gacy, right? But I don't know like what his atrocities were. Is he the son of Sam, or that's somebody different?
No, that's somebody different.
Somebody different, right?
That's the Zodiac killer.
Gacy is the Zodiac killer?
No.
Son of Sam is the Zodiac killer. There's all these names for all these killers.
Well, like a dog was like talking to him and telling him to do all this stuff for the Zodiac killer.
A dog?
A dog was talking to him, telling him to do all these murders. Yeah.
Okay. So if your dog starts telling you to murder other humans, then what you do is you don't listen to the dog.
Don't listen to your dog.
The dog is evil. Albert
Fish was truly an awful man prior to Jeffrey Dahmer.
I don't even know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds... I mean...
But it's also been sensationalized, the true crime stuff. Like, we even have the, what is it, murders? There'll be murders in the building or something like that. Or
oh, yeah, that's
it's
a cute little
it's a comedy,
show.
but
yeah,
it's still...
with Martin Short
that's
and
kind of
Steve Martin.
sensationalizing the fandom for true
for
crime.
Those true crime podcasts. So it's interesting that you say that, because I did, to start the year off, I did a podcast unit with my 6th and 7th graders, because we're trying to teach them different kinds of media and stuff like that in their GT classes. And I was surprised, probably 70% of them said that their parents, especially their moms, listen to true crime podcasts like all the time, and they've listened with their moms to the extent that some of them had to stop listening because it creeped them out so bad, and they were so afraid that somebody was going to come to their house.
A lot of that stuff started on YouTube because a lot of people would just like talk about like these true crime stuff. I think there was one woman that did it while she was applying makeup.
I've seen the one on Rukia says Son of Sam was different from the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer was never caught. Thank you, Rukia. I thought they were two different people. It was really cool, and I kind of like was gonna watch it, but then I don't know, I felt like really weird about it. It was a TikTok, so it was super short.
Mm-hmm.
But she decorates cookies while she talks about like these true crimes.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, that's cute, but kind of also weird and gross. Like these really pretty cookies that she's decorating, and then she's talking about, so in like, you know, the 1700s,
what's a way to make it more
woman
palatable?
Oh, hardy har. Okay, so Ed Gein was the inspiration for Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh, so those are both about the same killer.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know.
I didn't research that. Yeah. No.
I knew that they were both based on real life killers, but I didn't know like who that person was. I'm telling you, like it creeps me out. Like I can't like research this stuff. Like I know people really love it, and I know and I know that it's like an inspiration for a lot of these movies, and those are the kind of movies that really get to me. Mm-hmm. Like those are the movies that scare me. One of the all-time scariest movies for me is 13 Ghosts.
The Craft.
Craft is a whole nother thing because of my childhood, and you know that. Look, my parents were very Christian. I called my monkey the evil queen when I was 4. And they took me for deliverance, like the power of Christ compelled, like they thought there was a devil inside of me.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre never happened in real life. I thought that was real.
Yeah, I thought it was. Well, I've been told lies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always heard that that was like real events that happened. Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, so The Craft is a whole different thing. What were we talking about before you got? See, now you got me talking about my
13
deliverance,
Ghosts,
and I'm scared of
not
witches.
the original 13 Ghosts, because that one was like black and white, and you have to wear
Yeah, the glasses. No, the one with with Shaggy in it.
Yeah. Was serial killer.
Yeah.
Boom.
Bum.
From Hackers.
But the reason that scared me so much is because the ghosts, the malevolent spirits in that, are spirits of really hardcore evil people who were evil people in real life before they were murdered, and they want to continue this murder spree. They want to continue killing. They want to continue maiming. They want to continue crushing. They want to continue that. And so for me, like that just seemed like reincarnations of real life monsters that would then come back and perpetrate those real life crimes on you, even in ad infinitum, you know, into their death, and they would just get to keep going. So how horrible is that even by killing them you can't stop them?
Yeah.
So I don't know, that to me was like super horrible.
Did you ever see the movie Serpent in the Rainbow?
Oh God, yes, but like long.
That was one of the ones
ago.
that creeped me out, because I think that was part of a true story. The Serpent in the Rainbow.
Serpent in the Rainbow.
With Bill Pullman.
Fulger says Mindhunter is a great show on Netflix about the FBI trying to look into serial killers.
I've been trying to get to start watching that, but I haven't yet.
And you know what's interesting is one of my favorite shows of all time is Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Dexter. I wanted Dexter to kill.
But he
it's
had
because
a code.
he had a set of rules, right?
Yeah, he had a code.
So he still kind of, sort of, in a way, walked within our social norms and in our contract of humanity, and he killed within those social norms in order to remove bad people from our society that could have done harm. Mm-hmm. But he was very good. Like, that actor was also very good and very creepy about kind of playing that dichotomy of, this is my fake persona that I have for the world to see. And again, I'm kind of awkward in it. I'm not good at it because I'm broken, right? So it's a jilted, kind of weird fake persona.
And the mixture that they've kind of like done in social media with stuff. I even sent you one today, a TikTok of somebody like pretending that they're like Jeffrey Dahmer doing a corn thing.
Yeah.
And saying,
well,
just eat it now.
The juice.
It has the juice.
Yeah. And I think that plays on us as well too, is this
but it's just it creeps you out that it was a real person that really did that thing, that was really had that dead stare and would just like look right through you.
Yeah. I mean, he just didn't care, right? It just was what it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, I did that. Well, why? My brain told me to do it, so I just did it, you know? It was like, to him, it wasn't breaking any kind of contract or social norm or anything. It's just like, well, I did it because I did it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's that other show that we watched who's really, the dad is really good about that as well. It's a newer show, Prodigal Son.
Oh, yeah.
So in Prodigal Son, the dad is a serial killer, and like right under his family's nose, and he's a surgeon. And so it's very, you know, meticulous and everything. And then, again, he's just really kind of matter of fact about it. Well, he's like, I mean, yeah, I did those things because that's just what you do, you know? It's just like, that's just what you do. You go around and murder people and, you know, chop them into little pieces and put them into a trunk or something. You know, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, Ruki said only because his dad taught him to do it. Otherwise, he'd just be a serial killer. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he hadn't had somebody who noticed right away that this is what he was going to become and this is what he was going to do, and at least give him a code and steer him
right
a certain way, then yeah, he would totally do that.
But I think why we're more accepting of it is because he was doing justice.
Right. And I think that's why that show was like more palatable for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't scary. In fact, the scarier parts of the show was when I thought he was going to get caught. Not that I thought he was going to kill somebody else, but that like he was going to get caught. Especially in this final season that they gave us.
Yeah.
Just thinking that he was going to get caught by all the mistakes and stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Was so good. So good. So if you haven't watched it and you like serial killer type stuff, Dexter is definitely a good one to watch.
Definitely.
So I don't know. I'm more of the fake monsters. I'm less of the real monsters. I'm not down for the real. I would rather.
I'm almost finished. I think I have like 2 more episodes to finish with the Jeffrey Dahmer story, and it's been. I've enjoyed it so far.
Like some of it I'm okay, but then
I've enjoyed it because it's not super gory, and it leads you to believe it, but your mind like overtakes that and it goes overboard on it.
I do have a problem with that, and I really struggled when I got home the other day, and you were watching the part where the neighbor had been trying to tell them that something was going on.
Yeah.
And then they were having all of the parents talk about their
a very
kids.
different role for Niecy Nash.
Very different
than we've
role.
ever
I was
seen her do.
very surprised to see her do that serious role.
Not silly whatsoever.
But just to see, and maybe it's because I'm a parent and a teacher, so just thinking about these young people
Right.
who were killed, it was just more than I could bear, and I had to go in the other room. I couldn't watch it and I could even hear, like I had to put on TikTok, because I could hear the actors and actresses pretending to be the parents and like talking about the pain that they were suffering through because their child was gone. Yeah. And because they were all people of color, and so nobody took them seriously, and nobody was really like.
And that's interesting that I found in this show. What it was kind of portraying is how people of color were just kind of like tossed aside.
Which we've always kind of
by
known
the
that
police,
in this
and
society.
it's always happened. But it's something that's happening now, which it hasn't really changed. If anything, it's gotten. It's just now, it's documented.
Yeah.
Because now everybody has a phone, everybody can take video of it.
Yeah. So do you think, because everybody has a phone, because a lot of people now have like Life 360 and people are connected to one another, and there's like Find My Phone, and parents are tracking their kids through their phones and stuff, do you think that we'll start to see a decline in the ability for serial killers to exist?
They'll just get more crafty.
Because the thing that I always saw with serial killers is they need some kind of like trophy, trinket. They usually have some kind of ritual that they need to go through, right, in order to complete whatever this rumination is in their head that's telling them that they've got to do these things. So if you just have to kind of kill somebody really quickly and move on because someone might find them, someone's tracking their phone, whatever.
Right.
I don't know that necessarily these serial killers can go through these ritualistic things that they want to.
Just toss the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this case, I mean, people know what to do if they really wanted to do. You could just toss the phone, bash the phone. I mean, if you want to get it done, they'll do what it takes to do it. But, I mean, those are serial killers. They want to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, do they want to, or they just can't help themselves?
They can't help themselves.
there's something very wrong with them. Yeah.
Well, but they still want to do it.
Oh, I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying. They
Yeah.
want to do it. Like their brain tells them that this is what they need to do, and they want
Yeah.
to do it because, again, like you said, you see no remorse. There's no remorse. Like they're just like, this is what we do, and we kill people, and we kill people that look like this, or we kill people that act like this, or we kill people that do this. And did they? Before we go, did they ever explain? Like it seemed like they were kind of explaining that, like, some of the victims Jeffrey chose because, like, he had an attraction to them, and then he thought maybe they were going to leave him or something, or he wanted to keep them with him always.
Yeah.
He had these weird attachments, right, to them, and
Well, because his mom left him.
right. So then he had like
And then
separation
his dad
anxiety.
left. Well, his dad left first, and then his mom left.
Mm-hmm.
So he had like separation anxiety.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And that just kind of like pushed him. And maybe that's something that his father didn't have, even though he had the same kind of like thoughts.
But he didn't have that separation anxiety that
didn't
pushed
have
him
the
over the edge to
separation,
do
yeah.
the things. Yeah. So definitely there are a lot of real monsters out there. Rukia has helped us a lot. Thank you so much in the comments for like telling us so much more about this, because this is not something that I'm good at watching or learning about. I am going to go read more on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff though, because I was like, oh my God, I thought that was real. So now I'm going to see like what that was actually based off of and what happened, and get some more information about that. But there's definitely all kinds of like true crime podcasts if you want to hear this creepy stuff. There's a lot of creepy stuff like that. There's creepy stuff on Netflix if you want to see that kind of stuff. It's hard for me, makes my stomach kind of churny. Maybe I've got a little bit of darkness in me, and I'm afraid that I might flip that switch and go to the dark side. No, I'm not going to kill anybody. That's
Or maybe because you freak out because you're not like that.
maybe. I
And
don't
it
know.
freaks you out that people can be like that.
Maybe.
So
Maybe because I'm kind of like a
knows?
little good, like I'm a little goody who like breaks the rules. I like breaking the rules, but like stupid rules. Like I don't steal or anything. Like that to me is like, don't ever do that. But like no trespassing. And if I want to go into somebody's like, abandoned barn or something because I think something cool might be in there, then I would do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I like break the rules, but like in derpy kind of ways. Like, I can't imagine breaking the social norms and like killing people.
right.
And like wearing their skin or something. So, yeah. I don't know. Too creepy for me.
Yeah. But I really appreciate you checking this out. Talking about real monsters today. It's kind of weird, kind of cool.
Kind of Halloween-y. So
Kind of
we hope that
Halloween-y. That's why we started
yeah.
it. But thanks for checking this out. I'm Vince.
And I'm Colleen.
Geek out, essay.
Essay.